Afternoon. Welcome to everybody who's here to listen for the 2:15 update on the pier incident here in Oceanside. My name is David Parsons. I'm the fire chief, City of Oceanside, and I'll introduce who we have here right now. To my right, we have Deputy Chief Jess Specht, who's Operations Chief on the incident. Division Chief Blake Dorse, Plan Section Chief. We have Mayor Esther Sanchez, City of Oceanside, and the esteemed Congressman Mike Levin, representing the area. So just very quickly, right now we have 60 personnel on scene, 1 ladder truck, 3 fire engines, 1 medic squad, 1 ambulance, San Diego Harbor Police fireboat, San Diego Fire and Rescue Lifeguard fireboat, 2 Oceanside Fire Department fireboats, and numerous personal watercrafts for the lifeguards to provide safety in the water for firefighters. Oceanside PD has numerous personnel, and we have a lot of fire investigators and support personnel on scene. For an update of where we are right now in the fire, I'm going to turn it over to Division Chief Blake Dorse.
Hello. As you can imagine, with the fire as deep-seated as it was and the difficult conditions we were facing, we were approaching this very cautiously in regards to the safety of our personnel. As we approached the incident this morning, we were concerned about some of the structural stability. We did hold off on putting people within the hazard zone directly in the collapse zone of the building itself until we were able to evaluate it with our city engineer. Once we had that accomplished, we were able to send some scouting teams in to start evaluating where we could take opportunities to remove some of the debris and gain access to the more deep-seated areas of the fire as we look to gain this under control for this incident. Once we established that that was something we could perform, we used land-based firefighters wearing full protective equipment to carefully and safely approach the structure itself and begin tactically removing debris piece by piece. We were working in cycles of approximately 1 breathing apparatus bottle, which was going for about 30 minutes as they're all wearing respiratory protection inside the hazard zone. We would then remove those firefighters from the area and bring in the boats for water application to the areas of debris removal. And we were going back and forth between utilizing the boats to apply large streams of water to the areas that we'd opened up, and then bringing back in the firefighters after some rehabilitation time, giving them some new breathing apparatus bottles, and having them re-engage in debris removal. And we've been doing that through the course of the afternoon, just taking a very safe approach, being tactful about what we're doing, and monitoring the conditions as we go. That's where we're at right now. We anticipate continuing to do that throughout this operational period, which will go until 7 p.m. tonight. We will be having a meeting to plan the night operations, which will be going on from 7 p.m. tonight to 7 a.m. in the morning. We anticipate discontinuing the debris removal operation during the night hours, and we will be monitoring conditions with personnel on site. Thank you.
So a couple of items for the public. The beach does remain closed from Surf Rider on the north to Tyson Street on the south. County Environmental Health will be here at 7 in the morning to do a water quality check, and that's our next decision point to inform us on beach openings. So hopefully we'll find some good news tomorrow morning, but we're gonna wait on that information. There is a temporary flight restriction over the area. We've had some private aircraft in the area, and they're not being aware of that, so we'd like to spread the word to please heed that temporary flight restrictions for the safety of everybody. We have drones in the air, and we don't want any interference. With that, I'll turn it over to Congressman Levin for some words. Thank you.
Well, I want to begin by thanking Chief Parsons and his entire team for doing an incredible job. I was just with the chief very recently looking at the new Fire Station 1 in downtown Oceanside and talking about the potential investments that the bridge needs here at the Oceanside Pier. Little did I imagine that about a week later we'd be here in these circumstances, and my hat's off to him and his entire team at Oceanside Fire. I also want to give a shout out to the great mayor of the city of Oceanside, Esther Sanchez, for her really extraordinary dedication to this city, making sure that with the city council that the city will do everything that it needs to do to rebuild and rebuild better than ever. I want to thank Councilmember Joyce, who's here, and the mutual aid was so impressive. So, within very short period of time, we had everybody from Carlsbad Fire, Vista Fire, all throughout San Diego County and beyond, the Coast Guard and the federal firefighters at Camp Pendleton. I'm incredibly proud of how everybody worked together so quickly and got this done. Maybe like you, when I saw the images and the videos yesterday at around this time, I was concerned that the pier would be a total loss, that this iconic symbol for our entire district was at risk. But because of their hard work, we're going to be able to save most of this pier, and I just can't give them enough credit. I'll just part by saying that the federal government will do everything that it can to provide assistance. Obviously, that will require the declaration of local, county, and state emergencies, but we stand ready to help also with our annual appropriations process. We were already talking about this bridge, and now we can talk about what the pier will need to rebuild stronger than ever. With that, I'll turn it back to Chief Parsons.
Will do. I'm going to say one thing and then turn it over to Mayor Sanchez. We are in the process of proclaiming a local emergency. We haven't provided that yet, and that's going to take council ratification. So we'll provide an update as soon as we have more information on the proclamation of local emergency. With that, Mayor Sanchez.
Thank you. I did want to say that we're prepared to do that emergency declaration. I also, though, had a chance to talk with Assemblymember Lori Davies today, and she is awesome. She's going to be working with Senator Blake Spear to get all of the delegates together. They're already in conversations with the governor's office, so I'm really, really very, very positive about getting help from the governor's office as well, and all of our representatives here in the state of California. Thank you.
All right, so we continue to get offers for help that actually is beneficial from other government agencies, as the mayor and congressman mentioned. So thanks to previous partners and thanks to the partners that are offering themselves up right now. We're all available for questions. We have our operations people here and, of course, our elected. So please, go ahead.
Put it in real simple terms, how badly damaged was the pier? And if you do have to remove some, how much do you have to remove? Like, in simple terms for everyone to understand.
I would say the damage at the end of the pier, probably the last 5%, we call the hammerhead, which is the platform that houses the restaurant. That is more or less a total loss. Our operations crews cut a trench cut across the pier to prevent the spread moving west or eastbound towards the shore. So we saved, I'd say, 90 to 95% of the pier.
Why is the ATF leading the investigation?
So the ATF is not leading the investigation. They are here as not a subject matter expert, but to provide some resources. Our fire investigation team has all the qualifications needed to do the investigation, but what the ATF brings is a checkbook and some lab resources that we don't have locally, and that they're able to kind of dig in. Their participation in this may actually end fairly quickly once we narrow it down. We may not need them, but because they're a resource that they bring the federal government resources to bear, we wanted them in early in case we had to engage them. So they are working, honestly, as a subgroup to our fire investigation team.
You said a little bit earlier, about an hour ago or so, there was a lot of action, a lot of water. Can you explain what was happening in that moment?
Yes, Operations Chief.
Sure. The action you probably saw earlier this afternoon was as the roof had collapsed the previous evening, so that allowed us to put a lot of water on it. We like to stand back, kind of let's see what starts to burn. Once we saw active burning, we could see where the fire was taking place. That's when we would re-engage with the water. And like the chief had said earlier, or Chief Doris had said earlier, our physical firefighters on the pier itself, we're going in and essentially peeling apart the building to open it up for the water streams to hit. That's the action that you saw with a lot of the smoke earlier today.
Can you be clear for the record where you guys are in the investigation as far as determining a cause? Where are you at right now?
So we have not ruled out anything quite yet. The team is starting to narrow in on a location based on video evidence and the signs of fire evidence that they have. And I think they're starting to get a little closer towards potential cause, but we haven't fully landed there yet. We're still a good 12 to 24 hours before they're able to kind of make a preliminary determination.
Mayor, can you just clarify making an emergency declaration, what that means and why that's important?
Well, yes, thank you very much for the question. So before we could actually apply for FEMA, we have to have first the local and then the state and federal. So that's what we need to do. So the requirement is to do it within 10 days, and we're definitely going to do that. We're, as a council, probably end up having a special meeting to be able to make that declaration. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can you just lastly just clarify a little bit more? It's hard to hear the breathing apparatus and like kind of what that really looks like.
Sure. So when our firefighters are involved in what we call an immediately dangerous to life and health environment, such as this, they wear respiratory protection to help prevent the toxins from entering their system, obviously. So our firefighters wear breathing packs. It's similar to a scuba tank, but you wear it above ground, above water. And they wear those to protect their respiratory system. So obviously, just like a scuba tank, you can't stay underwater forever. Our air packs, you can't stay in the hazardous environment forever. So there's a time limitation on those bottles, and that's generally a good time to pull our people out, let them rehabilitate, give them fresh air bottles. While that's occurring, then we're applying water from the boats, and then we're re-engaging with fresh air packs.
What kind of access should the public have to the pier? It was fully open? Was some of it kind of cordoned off because of the renovations? What kind of access was there before
So,
the fire?
at the time of the fire, full access of the pier was available to the public. You could walk around, you could fish off the very end of it. It was fully open. And I want to clarify something that I have seen that hasn't been fully correct in the news. What used to be the Ruby's restaurant was in a remodel status. It wasn't like a derelict building or an abandoned building in any way. In fact, the kitchen area was under use to support the brine box. So this isn't like a building that was left to go south and to have any troubles. So I hope that gives some context to where we were on that.